Welcome back to the deep dive. Our whole mission here is to take these really big foundational truths and just unpack them.
To really extract the crucial nuggets, right? And deliver them in a way that makes sense.
Exactly, so that you walk away truly well-informed. And today we are embarking on a deep dive that I think is just essential for anyone seeking a deeper walk in faith.
It really is. We're looking at what is, well, arguably the most misunderstood concept in a lot of modern spiritual discourse.
I would agree with that.
For so many people, especially those who are maybe new to a Hebraic understanding of the scriptures, the word we're focusing on, Torah, it's immediately equated with something negative.
Right. They hear Torah and they think law, burdensome, impossible law.
And that translation, that one simple choice, creates this immediate association with, cold legalism, condemnation.
Yeah, it absolutely strips the concept of its entire life-giving purpose. People picture Moses coming down the mountain with this list of punitive rules.
A list designed only to show you where you failed.
And how far you are from earning salvation. It's a terrible starting point.
So our goal today is to, completely reset that perception. We want to uncover the profound beauty and the perfect integrity of the Torah.
To see it not as a burden, but as loving guidance.
As the essential divine guidance, a blueprint for abundant life from a father who fiercely loves his children.
And we're not just going to be talking about abstract theology. We actually have this magnificent ancient roadmap for our whole deep dive today. It's from King David.
In the book of Psalms, or Tehillim, chapter 19.
In this chapter, it's just incredible. It lays out Yahweh's two primary methods of revelation in this single, powerful progression.
And that progression is everything. It's key. Psalms 19 shows us that first, Yahweh reveals his glory, his power, and his character through his creation.
Through the cosmos, the heavens, the stuff anyone can see.
Universal knowledge. Then, after establishing that foundation, he reveals his heart, his personal will, and his expectations for relationship even more intimately.
Through his written instruction, through the Torah.
It's a move from the general physical witness to the specific spiritual guide.
A transition that prepares the heart of man.
Exactly. We start with the majesty we can see and touch, and that validates the authority of the instruction we then have to choose to obey.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our first main point then is this idea of Yahweh's dual revelation from the cosmos to the covenant. So before any word was written down.
Before Sinai, before Abraham.
Right. Before all of that, Yahweh established his foundation of knowledge right there in the visible creation.
This is what theologians call general revelation.
Meaning it's accessible to everyone.
To all people, everywhere. And Psalms chapter 19, verse 1 declares this just magnificently. It says, "The heavens, Shamayim, are recording the glory of El, and the works of his hand, the expanse, Rakia, is manifesting."
Let's really focus on that language. It says the heavens are recording, the expanse is manifesting. That's not passive, is it? It sounds like an active, continuous proclamation.
It absolutely is. The cosmos isn't some quiet, static stage. It's a ceaseless, active declaration. It's like a daily, ongoing testimony in a court of law.
And it speaks without using any human language.
No recognizable sound at all. But day after day and night after night, this knowledge of the Creator is just poured forth.
So it's an undeniable witness. I mean, it leaves no room for a credible denial of a supremely powerful designer, does it?
It really doesn't. If you just observe the sheer scale of it all, the complexity, the mathematical precision of the universe, you are almost compelled to acknowledge a creator of, incomprehensible power and wisdom.
And that acknowledgement, even if it's just on an intellectual level, that's the groundwork you need before you can receive his specific instruction.
Of course. Because if you reject the power you can see manifested in the sky, you're definitely going to reject the authority of words written on a scroll.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I wonder, though, if the revelation is so universal, so ceaseless, why do so many people still claim ignorance? Is the revelation somehow obscured?
That is a profound question. And the scriptures do address it. The revelation itself is perfect and clear, but the reception of it, that's often hampered by the human condition.
So the witness is heard, but not heeded.
Exactly. For David in this psalm, though, the clarity of the witness is unimpeachable. It testifies to an eloah of meticulous order.
And to emphasize that order, David uses this incredible personification of the sun, the Shemesh.
He does. He describes it in two really powerful analogies in Psalms chapter 19, verses 4 through 6. First, the sun is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber.
So joyful, radiant.
Anticipating his duty. And second, it's like a hero, a strong man, rejoicing to run his course.
You know, that use of rejoicing is fascinating to me. It suggests that fulfilling its duty isn't a chore for the sun, it's a source of satisfaction.
Precisely. It performs its celestial duty joyfully, consistently, and without fail. It traverses the Shamayim from one end to the other. It is the ultimate picture of dependability.
And you just mentioned a crucial detail. There's nothing hidden from its heat.
That phrase speaks directly to the thoroughness of Yahweh's reach. The sun's light and heat, they penetrate everywhere. There's no shadow or cold corner it doesn't touch. It's comprehensive.
So we have a God who reveals himself as supremely orderly, unwavering in his faithfulness, thorough in his reach. And his natural order operates with joy and perfect consistency.
And think what that teaches us about the instruction that's about to come.
It prepares the human leb, the entire inner person, to trust what comes next.
Right. If the Creator is so absolutely meticulous in setting the path of a star something inanimate, how much more perfect and reliable will be the instruction he gives to his beloved children?
The foundation is set. Yahweh is a being of absolute truth and order, so his words have to be true and orderly.
The transition is seamless. Just as the sun illuminates the physical path, Yahweh's written instruction illuminates the spiritual path.
It provides that life-giving warmth of truth to the inner self.
So we move from the testimony of creation to the content of the covenant. Now that we've seen that he is, we're ready to examine how he speaks and what he commands.
Okay, that brings us to our second main point. The perfect Torah more than just law. And this is where we really have to slow down and unpack the language.
We do, because the mistranslation of this one word, Torah, has created just a massive theological barrier for millions of people.
It's a linguistic crime, really.
It is. The persistent translation as law. This choice was heavily influenced by the Greek word nomos, which was used in the Septuagint, and then by later Roman legalistic thinking.
And when you impose that legal framework on it, the whole concept becomes cold and external, regulatory.
It implies a requirement imposed from the outside, purely to control behavior, often with punishment as the main function.
Which is the exact opposite of the rich, warm parental meaning that's embedded in the Hebrew.
Absolutely. The root of the word Torah is the verb yara, and yara has several meanings.
Like what?
It can mean to shoot an arrow, to aim, but also to instruct, to teach, or to point the way.
Okay, those meanings change the entire dynamic, don't they?
Right.
If the instruction comes from yara, it fundamentally changes the relationship between the giver and the receiver.
It moves Yahweh from being a stern judge to being a wise guide. Think of the metaphor of an expert archer or a shepherd.
I love the shepherd analogy. The shepherd guides his flock. He's not just imposing arbitrary rules on them.
Never. A shepherd guides them precisely to prevent them from going down a path that leads to danger. A poisonous plant, a steep cliff, a predator.
So his guidance is restrictive only in the sense that it restricts them from self-destruction.
Yes. He points them toward the green pastures and the still waters, toward abundant life. That is Torah.
And the archer analogy is just as powerful. The Torah aims us at the target, at the mark.
And if we miss, it shows us where our arrow landed so we can adjust our aim for the next shot.
Yeah.
It's not there just to condemn us for missing.
The ultimate target being a life of the deco, of righteousness and communion with Yahweh.
So Torah is instruction, guidance, a divine blueprint, given out of pure AHABAH, out of love. It's given because the Father desires the absolute best for his children.
The difference is just profound. It transforms obedience from a burdensome duty into a loving response to wise direction.
It does, and this linguistic foundation is essential. But here's where it gets, well, really interesting.
Let's zoom in on the ancient pictographic breakdown of the word Torah itself.
This is a true treasure trove. The ancient Hebraic mind built words out of conceptual pictures. Understanding those original symbols reveals the deep intent behind the instruction.
Okay, so there are 4 letters, Ta, Wal, Resh, and He. Well, let's start with the first, the Ta. In the ancient script, what did that look like?
It was often a mark or a cross, and that symbol carries enormous weight. It symbolizes a mark, a sign, or a covenant.
A covenant.
In its essence, it points to completion, to truth, and to a defined relationship, the specific mark Yahweh places on his people, securing them in his covenant.
Okay, so we have the mark of the covenant, then we move to the Wa.
The Wa, which looks like a nail or a peg.
And a nail's purpose is?
To secure, to add, or to connect. It signifies binding something, establishing it. So it shows that this instruction is secured, established, and binding. It connects the covenant people to the covenant giver.
Okay, so securing the mark of the covenant. I'm following. Next is the Resh.
The resh is consistently depicted as the head of a man. This symbol always represents the chief, the first, or the leader.
So Yahweh himself.
Unmistakably. The ultimate authority, the source of all instruction, the head of his people.
And finally the he, a man with raised arms.
Yes, and that ancient pictograph communicates behold, reveal, or breath spirit. It indicates a divine revelation, an outpouring of essential truth. It's the creator making himself known.
So if we put all four together, ta, wa, resh, he, the meaning just explodes beyond the word law.
It really does. The complete pictographic synthesis is something like, to mark or secure the revelation of the leader. The Torah is Yahweh's covenant instruction, divinely secured and established by his specific revelation, flowing from him as the supreme guide. A secured blueprint for covenant living. It's so far removed from cold legalism.
A profound, established statement of relationship. And this secured revelation, according to Psalms chapter 19, verse 7, has a defining quality: perfection. The Torah of Yahweh is perfect.
Yes.
What does that Hebrew word, tamim, truly mean here?
The word tamim is just central to our understanding. It means complete, whole, sound, blameless, or without defect. It's the antithesis of flaw.
But it's more than just moral flawlessness.
Oh, absolutely. What's vital here is that it means it is fully sufficient for its purpose.
So it's perfect because it's not lacking anything needed to do its job. It's fully integrated and utterly trustworthy.
That's a great way to put it. The Torah is not partial, nor does it require, external amendments to achieve its intended effect.
Yeah.
It is perfectly designed to guide fallen humanity back to the heart of the Creator.
It's complete as it is.
Right where it is.
And what exactly is that intended effect? The purpose clause follows immediately, converting the soul.
This is the operational purpose of that perfection. And we have two more deeply foundational Hebrew concepts here. First, nephesh.
Which we often translate as soul.
We do, but it's much broader. It's the entire living being. Life, breath, the inner self, desires, emotions, will. It's the very essence of who we are, the whole person.
So the effect is holistic. It's not just targeting one small spiritual component.
Exactly. The mind, the will, the emotions, the totality of your existence. And the word convert comes from the root shub.
Shub. That means to turn back or return.
To turn back, return, restore, or revive.
That is so powerful. The instruction is perfect, and its job is to turn us around.
This demonstrates the miracle of the Torah. Because Yahweh's instruction is complete and perfect tamim, it has the divine power to revive and restore our entire being, our nephesh. It turns us around shub from the path of death and confusion.
And guides us back toward life, toward fellowship with him.
It brings spiritual healing from the inside out. It restores our original blueprint.
So if you feel lost, confused, or spiritually just depleted, the instruction is both the map and the medicine.
And it's designed not for judgment, but for restoration.
Yeah.
For making us whole again. That perspective changes everything for how a new believer should approach these ancient writings.
It moves the Torah from being a weapon of condemnation to being a tool of redemption.
It gives hope and direction, not just a standard to miss.
And the perfection of the Torah is just one characteristic. David keeps going in Psalms 19, and he offers 5 different synonyms for Yahweh's instruction.
He does.
It's like he's treating it like a magnificent diamond.
This brings us to our third main point. The multifaceted blessings of Yahweh's instruction. We get to look at 5 different facets, each revealing a unique blessing and function.
And it's an intentional literary technique. It's designed to show the comprehensive nature of Yahweh's guidance. If one word wasn't enough, David chose 5 different overlapping words to communicate its complete coverage of life. Okay, let's start with the first facet, the testimony. Psalms chapter 19, verse 7b says, "The testimony, edut, of Yahweh is sure, making the simple petty wise."
The word edut refers to Yahweh's witness, his covenant declarations, the solemn principles he has established. It's his self-revelation, what he declares about himself and what he requires.
And the effect is that it's sure. The Hebrew is naaman, trustworthy and reliable.
So we can anchor our entire existence on this testimony because it is firmly established, it's unshakable. Now look at who it affects. The petit.
The simple, the naive, easily swayed person.
Right. They lack discretion because they haven't grounded their lives in truth yet.
And the edut transforms them. It makes them chakam, wise.
Yes, but not wise in the way the world defines it. It's not about being clever or intellectually gifted. This is practical wisdom. It's the skill for righteous living and for making discerning choices in the real world.
So the testimony gives the naive person the unshakable foundation they need to navigate a complex world.
Exactly. The second facet is precepts. Psalms chapter 19, verse 8a. The precepts, pikudim, of Yahweh are right, yashar, rejoicing the heart, leb.
Okay, Bigudim. How is that different from Edut?
It moves from the general testimony to specific directives. These are the appointed ways of life, the charges, the detailed duties given to those in Yahweh's service. They are the practical guidelines for behavior.
And they're defined as yashar, which means straight or upright.
Precisely. They define the straight path. So when we walk according to them, we are upright, not confused or crooked. And the result is simcha deep, abiding joy to the leb, the seat of our will in our inner being.
Yes, it's such a huge point. Following specific instructions, which can feel restrictive, actually leads to true gladness.
It defies worldly logic, doesn't it? The world says freedom is found in having no restrictions. The Torah says true freedom and deep joy, simcha, are found in aligning our entire innermost being with Yahweh's appointed upright ways.
Obedience is the prerequisite for real, non-fleeting joy.
It is. Now, the third facet, commandments. Psalm chapter 19, verse 8. The commandments, mitzvah, of Yahweh are clear, bar, giving light to the eyes, ein.
Mitzvah. These are the specific instructions for living.
The definite authoritative injunctions given by the commander, Yahweh. These are the non-negotiable standards.
And they're described as bar, pure, radiant, uncorrupted. What does that clarity mean for a believer?
It means they are pristine, they are not confusing or vague or tainted by human philosophy. They are brilliant and pure, like a bright light in a dark room. And this light, or lies, is given to the eye in our eyes.
The eyes symbolizing spiritual understanding and perception.
Right. When the path is dark, we stumble. The mitzvah are the spiritual flashlight. They illuminate our path so we can see clearly how to walk in truth and avoid the pitfalls of sin and spiritual blindness. They dispel ignorance.
So if you're struggling to know what to do in a moral decision, the mitzvah bring clarity.
Unambiguous guidance.
After the clarity of the commands, we examine the proper posture before the commander. The fourth facet, fear. Psalms chapter 19, verse 9a says, the fear, yirah of Yahweh, is clean, tehor, enduring forever.
And this is maybe the most heavily distorted concept in English translation. Yirah is not cowering terror that drives you away from Yahweh.
What is it then?
It's a profound reverential awe. A deep respect and worship that naturally draws you into obedience and trust. It's recognizing Yahweh's absolute holiness matched with his perfect accessibility.
So the fear is the appropriate and holy response to the sheer majesty of the instructions we've been talking about. It's worshipful respect.
And this reverence is defined as tihor, clean, pure, unadulterated. It's not mixed with selfish motives or superstition. It's pure devotion to a holy Eloah.
And the text adds that this yirah endures forever.
This is so crucial, especially for our audience. It confirms the eternal nature of the Torah's principles. Unlike man's fleeter philosophies or laws that change with the culture, Yahweh's holy nature and our correct, reverent response to him are eternal, unchanging truths.
They aren't disposable.
They are permanently binding in principle.
And finally, the fifth facet, judgments. Psalms chapter 19, verse 9b. The judgments, mishipanim, of Yahweh are true, emet. They are righteous, dadik, altogether.
Mishpatim, these are Yahweh's judicial decisions, his ordinances, his standards of justice. They're his determinations of what is right and wrong, the ethical framework.
And they are emet, true meaning, firm, faithful, and grounded in objective reality.
And they are zaddik, righteous, morally upright. And David adds all together to emphasize that every single component of Yahweh's judicial decisions is perfectly just. There is no inequity, no corruption, no possibility of error.
Which should be a profound source of peace and security for the believer.
Absolutely.
That synthesis really clarifies the breadth of the Torah. It's not a list. It's a complete system with testimony, precepts, commandments, reverence, and judgments, all working together.
All in harmony to restore the whole person, the nephesh. It truly is a diamond. You can't separate the sparkle of the commandment from the firmness of the judgment. They are one unified, perfect whole.
So once we grasp the character and function of this instruction, the next logical step is to evaluate its worth. Main point 4, its value, sweetness, and eternal foundation.
Right. David shifts now from the objective description of the Torah to the subjective, emotional, and spiritual response it demands from us.
He uses the ultimate ancient benchmarks for earthly value to make this stunning comparison. Psalms chapter 19, verse 10 begins, more to be desired are they than gold, even much fine gold.
And in the ancient world, gold was everything. It was the ultimate measure of security, wealth, power. Much fine gold represents the highest pinnacle of earthly security you could imagine.
Yet David says the Torah surpasses it infinitely.
The contrast is deliberately dramatic. Gold is tangible, but its security is fleeting. It perishes, it can be stolen, it rusts, and it ultimately provides no solace or direction in the face of death or spiritual crisis.
It can't buy you peace, or purpose, or a renewed leb.
But the truth of Yahweh's instruction leads to eternal life and imperishable blessings. The Torah provides purpose. It defines our relationship with the Creator. It guides us toward a life free from guilt. It establishes an eternal inheritance.
In the grand scheme of eternity, the knowledge of Yahweh's truth is the only treasure that truly lasts.
Which makes gold, even the finest gold, a trivial pursuit by comparison. If you had to choose between being perfectly wealthy or perfectly righteous, the choice, from Yahweh's perspective, is obvious.
And the second analogy addresses not just value, but the delightful experience of living it out. They're sweeter also than honey in the honeycomb.
Honey, especially pure, dripping honey from the comb, was the supreme symbol of delight, nourishment, and blessing in the ancient world. The purest, most exquisite sweetness.
So David isn't just saying the instruction is valuable. He's saying the act of receiving it and obeying it is profoundly delightful.
He is. It means that walking in Yahweh's appointed ways is not meant to be a grim, bitter duty. It's a rich spiritual nourishment that satisfies our deepest hunger.
Unlike worldly pleasures, which are fleeting and ultimately leave the nephesh feeling empty.
Or just craving more. The Torah provides deep spiritual vitality. When we approach it with AHABAH and yirah, with love and reverence, we find a satisfaction and a spiritual vitality that surpasses any temporary physical pleasure or emotional high.
It feeds our entire being. It brings a profound sweetness to life that can only be described as divine delight.
It's the difference between eating empty calories and consuming soul-nourishing food. The Torah provides the latter, creating a lasting joy that worldly circumstances can't touch.
This high view of the Torah really demands a critical discussion, especially for new believers who come from backgrounds that teach the Torah is, done away with.
Right.
Which brings us to main point 5. The Messiah upholds the Torah. The question is always, if I am saved by faith in Yahshua, why do I still need the Torah?
This is where we have to connect the two pillars of our faith. Yahshua did not come to discard the instruction. He came to uphold it, to establish it. And we have to look directly at his own words in Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 19.
He said, "Do not think that I came to abolish the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill."
That phrase, to fulfill, is absolutely foundational. It does not mean to finish and therefore terminate. It means to bring to its intended full spiritual purpose and expression.
Okay, so how did he fulfill it?
He fulfilled the Torah in 3 distinct, powerful ways.
What's the first one?
First, he fulfilled it prophetically. Every detail of his life, his birth, his death, his resurrection, was the perfect completion of the prophetic narrative woven throughout the Torah and the prophets. He confirmed their divine authority by living them out.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the second?
Second, he fulfilled it in righteousness. He lived the Torah perfectly. He is the ultimate example of walking in Yahweh's instruction. He showed that obedience is possible when it's done through the Spirit and rooted in AHABAH. He showed us what a tamim man, a complete, whole, blameless man looks like.
And then the third way?
Third, and this is so important for us today, he fulfilled it spiritually. He took the instruction from being focused on just mere outward observance, the letter of the instruction, and he amplified its spiritual intent to the condition of the leb.
That amplification is critical. Like when the instruction said, "You shall not murder," what did Yeshua do with that?
He essentially said, yes, do not murder, but true fulfillment of this mitzvah requires addressing the underlying anger and hatred in your heart. He spiritualized the instruction, showing that the Torah was designed to regulate not just our hands, but our very thoughts and desires.
So the Torah remains the eternal definition of righteousness, but Yahshua is the ultimate living embodiment and the means by which we are empowered to pursue it.
That's it. If we love Yahshua, we embrace his perfection. And since he perfectly lived, upheld, and amplified the Torah, our goal must be to follow him in that walk.
The Torah tells us where to walk. Yahshua shows us how to walk.
And his sacrifice provides the reconciliation necessary to even start walking on that path.
So if the Torah is truly perfect and enduring, and if Yahshua affirmed its continued relevance, How does a new believer take that knowledge and translate it into practical daily life?
And that's the key. This moves us from theology to genuine discipleship. The instruction defines the Father's will, the Messiah defined the walk, and now the Spirit empowers the believer to live it.
Okay, main point 6. Living the Torah new believer's commitment. This is where we have to get extremely practical.
We do.
If the Torah is guidance given out of love, then obedience is not about earning salvation. It's the beautiful, natural expression of the salvation we've already received through Yahshua.
The motivation has to always be AHABAH, love. Yahshua laid out the principle so simply in John chapter 14, verse 15. If you AHABAH me, you will keep my commandments, mitzvah.
Love is the engine. Obedience is the vehicle.
Well said.
So, if we're to keep his mitzvah, what are some intentional steps a new believer can take? It goes beyond just the 10 Commandments, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It means learning to walk in his appointed ways, embracing the rhythm of life Yahweh established.
Absolutely. This includes honoring practices that, well, often get dismissed as Jewish law, but are revealed in the Torah as Yahweh's appointed times for all his people. The most foundational is observing the weekly Sabbath, the Shabbat.
What's the significance of Shabbat for a new covenant believer? Is it just a day off?
It is so much more than a day off. It's a profound, life-giving mitzvah. It's Yahweh's established time of rest, remembrance, and communion. By resting on the seventh day, we mimic the Creator. We acknowledge that our provision and our completion come from Him, not from our own ceaseless work.
So it creates a physical rhythm of shalom, of peace, in a hectic modern life.
It's a weekly declaration of trust in Yahweh's ability to provide.
And what about the annual feasts, the Moedim, from Leviticus chapter 23?
These are not optional relics. The Torah calls them Yahweh's appointed times. They are joyful invitations designed to draw us closer to Him and to teach us prophetically about His magnificent plan through Yahshua.
For example?
Well, the spring feasts, Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, they are the very foundation of Yahshua's redemptive work. Embracing them connects a believer to the full sweep of salvation history in a tangible way.
So instead of being legalistic burdens, these are tools given by a loving Father to provide spiritual nourishment and a clearer understanding of His plan.
Precisely. They are guidance. And the good news is we are not attempting this walk in our own limited strength. The new covenant promises an internal transformation.
Through the Ruach HaKodesh.
Right. This is the prophetic fulfillment we read about in Jeremiah and Ezekiel.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 33 is clear. Yahweh promises to put His Torah within us and write it on our lips.
It becomes an internal desire, not just an external duty.
And Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 27 provides the power. I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes.
The set-apart Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, is our indwelling guide and teacher. The Spirit doesn't just give us the ability to obey. He transforms our core desires, making obedience a joy, a simcha, rather than a struggle.
He empowers us to live the Torah from a willing, restored leb. The very conversion, the shub, that David spoke of.
Yes.
This sounds like a real commitment. And the physical public entry point into this committed walk is the mikveh, or baptism.
That is the commanded ordinance for public commitment. The Apostle Peter, Kepha, he established the pattern in Acts chapter 2, verse 38.
Repent, and let every one of you be baptized in the name of Yahshua the Messiah for the remission of sins, and you shall receive the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh.
This ceremonial immersion, the mikveh, it's more than just getting wet. It's a powerful public declaration.
What is it declaring?
It symbolizes dying to the old, unguided life of sin and being raised to a new life of following Yahshua as master, committed to walking in Yahweh's commanded ways defined in the Torah. It's the physical manifestation of that promise that we are turning around shub and committing to the secured revelation of the leader.
Even when the Ruach came upon early believers before immersion.
The instruction to be baptized immediately followed, confirming its essential role as the covenant ordinance of commitment to this walk.
This entire journey, it requires genuine humility and a real willingness to learn. It's a process of constantly asking the Ruach to reveal the Torah's life-giving truth.
And that transformation where the Torah moves from being an academic text to an internal spiritual reality, that's where the real simcha and shalom are found.
So what does this all mean? It means the word Torah needs to be completely rehabilitated in the minds of so many believers.
It does.
It is not an outdated, abolished legal code designed to condemn. It is His perfect, complete, tamim, life-giving instruction, a secured map to shalom, to true peace and wholeness.
It is a multifaceted diamond. It revives the nephesh through restoration, shub. It brings practical wisdom, deep joy, simcha, and clear light. It's a treasure infinitely more precious than gold because its blessings are eternal.
And it's sweeter than any physical delight because it satisfies the deepest core longings of the soul.
Our journey as believers in Yahshua is to fall in love with the instruction of our Heavenly Father, embracing it as the highest expression of the AHABAH we have for Him.
Guided and empowered by the Ruach HaKodesh, we move from simply believing the truth about Yahshua to actively walking in the truth as Yahshua walked.
Perfectly upholding the Father's instruction. That is the life of discipleship. It's the daily commitment to learning the path and walking it out in confidence.
And that leads us to a final provocative thought for you to carry with you this week. Considering the profound blessings and life-giving nature of Yahweh's Torah, its ability to restore your entire being, how will you intentionally seek to learn, meditate on, and apply His instruction in your daily life this coming week? Will you commit to reading a portion of His Torah, maybe from the book of Exodus, Shemot, or Deuteronomy, Devarim, and asking the Ruach HaKodesh to reveal its life-giving truth to your leb? Will you find one practical mitzvah or precept and commit to living it out of AHABAH, knowing that the straight path brings true joy?